Minneapolis, where they took over the police station. They took it over and they burned it down. By the way, what happened to those people? Are those people in jail with the J6 hostages? What happened to those people, come to think of it? They're not in jail with the J6 hostages. I don't call them prisoners, I call them hostages. They're hostages.
That's Donald Trump calling the insurrectionists hostages at his most recent speech on Saturday in New Hampshire. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch network that continues Donald Trump's praise and support for the January 6th insurrectionists. Let's go through some of the other lowlights of the speech, and let's contrast it to some of the things President Biden has been saying recently. Here, Donald Trump quotes Adolf Hitler in his speech, saying that they are poisoning the blood of our country. Play this clip.
We got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country. Nobody's even looking at them. They just come in. The crime is going to be tremendous. The terrorism is going to be, and then we built a tremendous piece of the wall.
In this next clip, here's what Donald Trump says about President Xi. Play the clip.
The whole thing is not believable. Can you imagine President Xi of China, powerful kind of a guy? They hate when I say that. Oh, you're saying nice things now. He controls 1.4 billion people rather ruthlessly, right? Can you imagine when he sees this guy?
Notice what Donald Trump praises about President Xi of China is that he controls his population, quote, ruthlessly. Next up, Donald Trump says that for 4 years, when he was in office, everything was great. It was the best time ever. Play this clip.
No, New Hampshire wants a president who will never betray you, who will never forsake you, and who will never sell you out. You're not going to be sold out. And you know that because for 4 years I was your president, and you had the greatest 4 years that you've ever had.
Yeah, there were mass graves when you were in office. There were people lined up for toilet paper. There was a catastrophic event after catastrophic event culminating in the way you completely and utterly mishandled COVID. Next up, Donald Trump says that a health care plan is coming. It's right under our feet. He's gonna come up with the plan that he was promising. Play this clip.
People with much better health care. We're going to do something great in that. And again, we have so much wealth under our feet. The wealth under our feet is going to pay for all of this stuff. We're going to make so much money.
Yeah, he's not coming up with any plan. He's going to take away health care from you. He's going to take away health care from 40 million Americans. He had 4 years. He said infrastructure was coming 2 weeks. Health care is coming in 2 weeks. He lies about everything. Here, Donald Trump attacks our country. Play this clip.
It's a great country. And by the way, it's not a great country anymore. It's a total mess. Our country is not a great country anymore. Our country is a mess. You remember CAG? Keep America great. I couldn't use it. I said America's not great now.
That's the thing when you go to a Donald Trump speech. It's just constantly attacking our country, saying demeaning things about our country. Here, Donald Trump says when he gets into office, he'll weaponize the DOJ to go after prosecutors who he doesn't like. Play the clip.
We will restore law and order to our communities, and I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical, out of control, fake, crooked prosecutor in America for their illegal, racist, in reverse enforcement of the law. I am also going to indemnify all police officers. This is a big thing, and it's a brand new thing, and I think it's so important. I'm going to indemnify through the federal government all police officers and law enforcement officials throughout the United States from being destroyed by the radical left for taking strong actions against crime.
Of course, it's not a Donald Trump speech without him saying outrageous things about wind turbines. Play this clip.
You know, the one thing about climate, so we fight like hell, and they put up all these windmills all over the place that if you add the cost of rebuilding, and they're all rebuilt, you know, in China. They're all built in China and Germany. And they said, let's assume you're a big believer in this. They send big fumes in. So you add it all up, and it's terrible. You can't get rid of the blades. They only last 10 years. The energy is the most expensive energy you can do. They kill all our birds. If you want to see a bird cemetery, go under a windmill sometime. You'll see birds like you never saw. If you love birds, you'll start to weep. But it's just the craziest thing. They ruin our plains and fields. They're killing our whales. You know, the whales are coming in. I think we had one whale come in 50 years. This year we had like 12. It's a terrible thing they're doing to our country.
And here Donald Trump says that the other candidates, and I guess he says President Biden here, that they're in it for Wall Street, but he claims that he's in it for the people, is what he says. Here, play this clip.
The world thinks our country is a total mess, and it is. You don't want a candidate to do your bidding and the bidding of Wall Street, the Washington establishment, the fake news media, the deep state, and the military-industrial complex, of which I was a big contributor because I bought more. I rebuilt our entire military.
I mean, again, how pathetic can you be right there? Donald Trump saying that President Biden is for everything that Donald Trump says is just complete and utter projection. It's just lie after lie after lie. Here, Donald Trump says, and he brags, that if he wins, people will flee America. Play this clip.
Now, you know, as soon as we win, and I always like to say if, because, you know, we don't want to be stupid, if. But, you know, I feel we're doing very well, but I don't like to curse it. But as soon as we win, you know what's going to happen. People are going to flood out of the country. They're going to flood out before we even do anything. They're going to leave the country because they're going to understand that.
By the way, remember Donald Trump in 2020 when he said that if Biden was elected, the stock market was going to crash? Well, now his message is that because the stock market has reached record highs, that the stock market only helps rich people and that the stock market's not a good metric and that, in fact, we shouldn't care what the stock market is about. Here, play this clip.
Well, the stock market is making rich people richer.
And by the way, that's why President Biden is also saying that what he's focused on is a bottom-up, middle-out economy. But Donald Trump and all the legacy media, their own metric, their only metric for Donald Trump was, is the stock market doing good today? Is the stock market doing good today? But when the stock market hits record highs under President Biden and wages are rising and unemployment is at record lows and employment is through the roof and 40,000 infrastructure projects across the country, then there has to be some other way to attack President Biden, and all the traditional metrics don't matter anymore. Here, Donald Trump talks about how one of his ultimate kind of projection and confession statements is he goes, well, Vladimir Putin told him, Vladimir Putin told me that Biden's saying that Vladimir Putin told me that Biden is a threat to democracy. Wow, that's what we're basing this on, what Vladimir Putin says. Play this clip.
And remember this, Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. He's a threat. And, you know, we'll bring in adversaries, and I'll bring it in right now, but even Vladimir Putin, has anybody ever heard of Vladimir Putin? Of Russia, says that Biden's, and this is a quote, politically motivated persecution of his political rival is very good for Russia because it shows the rottenness of the American political system, which cannot pretend to teach others about democracy. So, you know, we talk about democracy, but the whole world is watching the persecution of a political opponent that's kicking his ass. It's an amazing thing.
And then Donald Trump talks about his buddy Kim Jong-un. Play the clip.
And by the end, we were way up above both of them and heading up. We were like a rocket ship. It was like a rocket ship sent by Kim Jong-un, just like that. Who was very nice, I will tell you. You know, everyone thought we were going to nuclear war, and I got in, and he and I had a very good relationship. That was nice, very nice. But he's not, Rocket Man, yeah. But he's not so fond of this administration, but he's fond of me. And we had a very good relationship. And I tried to convince the fake news, no, that's a good thing, not a bad thing, right? That's a good thing. You know, we don't need nuclear missiles flying all over the place. So we did get along well, but he doesn't like this particular group of people very much, and I understand exactly why. Because he doesn't like incompetent people, actually. They are grossly incompetent.
Then Donald Trump's line about drill, baby, drill, and it should be noted that there is more domestic drilling by far right now under President Biden than there was under Donald Trump. And at the same time, President Biden has made massive commitments to addressing climate change and has far more domestic drilling than Donald Trump. Here, play the clip.
2.5 years of economic death because what they were doing wasn't working. They were going to wind and solar and didn't have nearly the power. We should learn from these other countries, don't you think, instead of being stupid? Drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill. Yep. Drill, baby, drill. We'll make so much money. We're going to make so much money. We're going to drill, baby, drill.
Here, Trump calls Chris Christie a fat pig. Play the clip.
And he says, what about Chris? Please, sir, do not call him a fat pig. We cannot call. Says, what about Christie? He's a fat pig. You can't call. No, look. Please do not call Chris Christie a fat pig. Okay? It's not appropriate. Because you're not allowed to use the word fat. Use the word pig, but you can't use the word. No, we don't want to call him that. I don't want to call him that.
Here, after criticizing President Biden on the economy, Donald Trump tries to take credit for the economy, and then his whole thing is like denigrating the economy, and he goes, if you elect him, there's going to be a depression. All he has is fear tactics. All he has is just trying to scare people and demean our country. Play this clip.
The Biden administration is running on the fumes of the great success of the Trump administration. They're just running on the fumes of what we did with the tax cuts and the regulation cuts. Without us, this thing would have crashed to levels never seen before. And if we're not elected, we will have a depression, the likes of which you haven't seen since the Depression of 1929. We're not talking about a recession. You're going to have a lot worse than that.
Oh, and then the stupid line about Christmas again. Play the clip.
And let me begin by wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Remember? We couldn't say that. Seven years ago, they didn't want us to say it, but we now say it proudly, and people are saying it right back at us.
Just an old broken record with this moron. Here's the next one, too. He goes, I know more about the banking industry. The bankers are afraid of me. Here, play the clip.
The bank's rich, and the banks discriminate against conservatives. They discriminate against religion, because they're afraid of the radical left, I suspect. I think the bank regulators are doing a big number in the banks because they're not allowed to do business with you. And we're going to get those banks when we get in office. We're going to get them. Nobody knows the banking industry better than me. And I'm not going to let them take advantage of you any longer. They've taken advantage, and what they do to the people in this room, and by the way, millions and millions of others, is a disgrace. We're going to end it.
Well, that was Donald Trump's speech in New Hampshire. I want to compare that, though, to President Biden. Here, by the way, is what President Biden just put out on Twitter and other social media. President Joe Biden said, "Good one, Donald." Watch this clip of what President Biden's referring to. You're going to like this one. Play the clip.
If Biden wins, you're going to have a stock market collapse, the likes of which you've never had.
Another record day on Wall Street.
The stock market higher than it's ever been.
The stock market, it's hitting new records.
Beating the record it set just yesterday.
Let's just talk for a moment about the stock market.
Okay.
Boom.
Well, the market is defined. All the experts.
Here, President Biden, speaking recently, says, look, when Trump was there, he talked the talk. We walk the walk here, and we get things done. Here, play this clip.
Folks, all this project stands in stark contrast to my predecessor. He always talked about infrastructure week. 4 years of infrastructure week, but it failed. He failed. On my watch, instead of infrastructure week, America's having infrastructure decade. Decade.
This was from my interview right now, this clip with President Biden, where he talks about Trump's threat to democracy. Play the clip.
I made a speech in Independence Hall saying that our democracy is at risk. And even the press said, what are you talking about? Well, guess what? The vast majority of the American people thought it was too. The idea that we have a former president who may be their nominee saying that he thinks they should be able to essentially walk away from the Constitution. He should be, I mean, the things they're saying are just off the wall. The idea that democracy is inevitable is just not true. It's under siege, and we have to put a stamp of democracy on everything we do.
Finally, here is President Biden and former President Obama talking about the importance of health care. Play the clip.
Hey, President Biden, is Obamacare still a thing? Is it still a thing?
Yes. Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, Biden Care, whatever you call it, yes, it is still a thing. The other side's been trying to repeal it every year since it's existed, but will keep fighting to protect it.
Not just protect it, but expand it, saving millions of dollars for working families. We're covering more people than ever.
Just go to healthcare.gov to learn more.
Yeah, it's still a BFD.
So there you have it, folks. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch as well if you want to help grow this independent platform. Have a great one.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.